Love didn't blind me. It lured me into the fire with my eyes wide open. They say love can make you blind. But I wasn't blind. I saw everything. I just didn't want to believe it. I met Nolan on a rainy Thursday, the kind of rain that seeps into your bones and whispers secrets only broken hearts understand. He smiled like he had nothing to hide, and maybe that's what scared me most. I was a writer, a quiet soul with ink-stained fingers and a past buried deeper than bones. He was thunder-wrapped in silk, all charm and secrets. We were perfect until we weren't. The first time I heard her name, Celeste, it was a slip of his tongue, the kind that slices clean without bleeding. He brushed it off. "Old friend," he said. But her name tasted like guilt, and that guilt was scented sweet. Familiar, like vanilla and blood. The body remembers what the heart refuses to believe. I started finding strands of dark hair that weren't mine. Nolan's hugs began to linger with something unfamiliar, like his body was still cradling someone else. I told myself I was being paranoid. I told myself not to snoop. But paranoia is just intuition starved of proof, isn't it? That night I followed him. He said he was working late. But I watched him drive across town to a rotting house clinging to the cliffs. I didn't recognize the place, but it pulsed with something old, cold, forgotten. And when the door opened, she stood there, Celeste. Her face was pale, her eyes vacant. But she smiled like she knew me, like she'd been expecting me. And Nolan kissed her like I didn't exist. When the dead want to be seen, they don't knock, they whisper. I didn't confront him. Not right away. I needed answers, not rage. The next morning, he came home smelling like rain and secrets. I asked how work was. He said, quiet, but his eyes screamed. So I wrote. It's what I do best. I penned a letter to myself, something to hold on to when the world lies. I wrote, "You're not crazy. You are not imagining her. She is real, and she is the shadow between you." But when I returned from a walk, the letter was gone. In its place, a single black rose. Wet, fresh, fragrant with vanilla. And then I saw it, in the mirror. Behind me, Celeste, smiling. He once looked at me like I was everything. Now he blinked like I was the problem. Nolan changed after that night. He grew distant. He touched me like I was made of regret. I followed the clues, hidden photos, receipts, dusty journals. The truth twisted like barbed wire. Celeste wasn't just an ex. She was never alive when I met him. Her obituary was dated 3 years before Nolan walked into my life. Car crash. No survivors. But the girl I saw, the one he kissed, she wasn't memory. She was flesh. She was breath. She wasn't haunting me. She was replacing me. You can't kill someone who never left. I confronted Nolan. He looked at me like I'd opened a door we'd both brick shut. "You don't understand," he whispered. "Celeste isn't gone. She's stuck." He told me she died after a fight. She drove off into the storm. He never forgave himself. "She lives in my regret," he said. "And the more I love you, the more furious she gets." I should have run. Instead, I kissed him. That night, I lit a candle for her, and the flame turned black. Something is wrong with the house. Mirrors show her. Phones ring, but no one's there. Our dog won't go near the basement. I found a locket buried behind the bookshelf, with her photo inside. Celeste smiling beside Nolan. On the back. Forever. Even in the silence. Nolan started sleepwalking. He'd whisper her name, reaching into empty air like trying to hold a ghost. Sometimes, I'd wake up and find him staring at me, except his eyes were empty, distant, like he was watching someone else. And once, just once, he called me Celeste. The walls creak now, even when there's no wind. Doors close themselves. Lights flicker in patterns, 3 short bursts, 2 long, like Morse code from the other side. I started recording at night, audio only. On the 4th night, I heard it, my voice. But I wasn't speaking. It whispered slow and deliberate. "You're not enough. You never were." I played the file for Nolan. He didn't flinch. He didn't even ask if it was fake. He just said, "She's inside now." I asked what that meant. He didn't answer. Instead, he pulled something from a drawer. A VHS tape, labeled in shaky handwriting. "Don't watch alone." I watched the tape. Grainy footage. Nolan and Celeste in our house. Years before I met him. Laughing. Dancing. Kissing in the kitchen. But then the tape glitched. Celeste was screaming. Alone. Bleeding. Caught in a loop. The storm. The crash. The silence. And at the end, she turned to the camera. Her eyes met mine. She said my name. Serafina. I wasn't even born when she died. How the hell did she know my name? The screen went black. And from behind me, a voice echoed. "She wants your life because you got hers." I stopped sleeping. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her, not just her face, but me wearing it, like she was trying me on. I went to the crumbling house Nolan used to visit. The attic held a box, letters. Dozens. All from Celeste. Written to me. "I dreamt of you before I died." We were the same girl, just born into different shadows. He lied to us both. And the last one? He killed me. Nolan came home with red on his shirt. "Paint," he said. But it smelled like metal. I held up the letters. I asked what they meant. He laughed. "Hollow." "I didn't kill her," he said. But I didn't stop her either. Celeste wasn't innocent, he said. She dabbled in the dark. Called things from it. She said pain was an anchor. That she could bind souls. And she wanted to bind me. He looked at me, eyes searching. "What if you're not Serafina?" The dreams became memories. But they weren't mine. I saw a girl running barefoot in the rain. A red ribbon in her hair. A scream in her throat. I felt the crash. The bones breaking. The regret blooming. And I knew then Celeste didn't want to hurt me. She wanted out. She was trapped. Not haunting. Screaming. For decades. And Nolan, he was the lock. The binding spell was real. A ritual of love and possession. She tethered herself to him in death. But something went wrong. He met me. Loved me. And the binding split. Celeste found a new vessel. Me. Unless I broke it, she would fade, piece by piece, into me, until only she remained. I stood at the edge of the woods with a box of Celeste's letters and the locket around my neck. The ritual called for fire, for blood, for memory. I whispered her name. I told her I saw her, that I understood, that I forgave. The wind howled, the air thickened, and then she stepped out of me, her figure smoky, flickering, eyes wide with something between fear and gratitude. "You were never supposed to be me," she whispered. And then she turned and looked at Nolan. He wept. And with one last look, Celeste disappeared into ash. I walked home alone. The house was quiet. No whispers. No shadows. Just stillness. But sometimes when I write late into the night, I still feel her fingers guide mine. Some loves never leave. Some shadows stay with us. Forever. The silence didn't last. Days later, I heard her voice again. But it wasn't Celeste. It was something else. A whisper beneath the floorboards. A creak in the walls. A knock behind the mirror. I pulled the old boards up. There was a hidden journal. One I hadn't seen before. Inside were entries from Nolan. About her. Not Celeste. Someone before her. A girl named Iris. And her story made Celeste look like a lullaby. Nolan never mentioned Iris. Never. The journal spoke of a girl with a laugh like broken glass, a gaze like fire, and rituals that left birds falling from the sky. She didn't love Nolan. She possessed him. One night, she disappeared. No police. No funeral. Just silence. Celeste came after. And the cycle began again. But Iris? I think she never left. And I think she's angry. I found a door in the house I had never seen before. It shouldn't have existed. A small, narrow passage behind the kitchen wall. Inside, the air was cold. The walls were carved with strange symbols. In the center, a chair, chains, and a single photo of me, but aged. decayed, as if I'd already lived this life once. I tried to leave, but the road looped. No matter how far I drove, I returned to the same place, the house. I screamed at Nolan. He cried. He said it wasn't me in the house anymore. It was her. I ran to the mirror, and the reflection? It smiled. But I didn't, because it wasn't me. It was Iris. There was one entry in Nolan's journal that terrified me. If she takes root, you must return the vessel, or you'll lose her forever. Return the vessel. Me. He had to choose. Let me go, or lose me to Iris. He didn't speak, just lit a circle of salt around me, and began to chant. The air screamed. My skin burned. And Iris, she fought. I woke up 3 days later, alone. The salt circle was scorched. The house? Empty. Nolan was gone. Only a note remained. I did what I had to. Forgive me. There was no trace of Iris. Just ash where the mirror once stood. And the sound of wind whispering my name. Serafina. Months passed, but I never left. The house still held pieces of me. Of her. Of all of them. Some nights, I still hear chains. Other nights, I hear Nolan. Or worse, I see myself walking the halls while I sleep in bed. I became part of the house. And the house? It remembers everything. I picked up the pen today. For the first time since it all began. I wrote the story. Word by word. Memory by memory. To remember. To survive. To warn. Because houses don't haunt us. People do. And sometimes they wear your skin and call it love.